Poppy makes a baby bunny blanket. Hey there, and welcome, or maybe even welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how to make a baby toy blanket with a bunny on top. The blanket is actually a big granny square. I'll lay it flat so you can see what I mean. So if you have never made a granny square before, I'll show you step by step. And if you have, then it should be easy peasy. Plus, I've also put a crochet chart for all these elements down below in the description box, free to download of course in PDF format. Today I'm going to use different colors. I'll be using 3 colors. I'm going to make his arms and his head with the white wool, and for one of his ears I'll be using either this green wool or this one. To make the bunny baby blanket, you will be needing at least 2 different colors of wool, filling material, a pair of scissors, a crocheting needle fit for the wool you are using, stitch markers, a sewing needle. For this project, I prefer to use the plastic ones. The first thing I'm going to show you how to make are the bunny's ears, then the granny square blanket, followed by his head, and the last thing I will show you are his arms. Don't forget the direct link to the crochet chart is down below in the description box. Grab the correct crochet needle suited for your wool. For me, this is a 3.5mm needle. So I'm going to use different colors on the one I'm going to show you how to make than on the one I already made. I'm going to be using 3 colors, which doesn't really impact the pattern. I'm mainly using them in the granny square, and I'm going to make one ear in a different color because I thought it would be cute. First, I'm going to show you how to make his ear. And make a slip knot and chain 3. Insert hook in first stitch and make a slip stitch. Chain 2 and make 5 single crochets, crocheting over the end yarn. Use a stitch marker to keep track of your stitches, but this is totally optional though. Insert hook in the first stitch and make a slip stitch to close the first row. Now you should have a closed circle, a chain of 6. Chain 2 and increase in every other stitch. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 2 single crochets in the second stitch. Close the circle with a slip stitch. Your row 3 now consists out of 10 chains. Chain 2 and make row 4 with 10 single crochet, so no increasing. Close with a slip stitch. Chain 2 and again make 10 single crochets, so no increasing. Close with a slip stitch. Make another row out of 10 single crochets, again no increasing, and close with a slip stitch. This will be the last row before we start to increase again. So yet again, chain 2, make 10 single crochets and close with a slip stitch. For the 8th row, we are going to increase again. So chain 2, and just like before, 1 and 1, 2 and 1. So in the first stitch, 1 single crochet. In the second stitch, 2 single crochets. Third, 1 single crochet. Fourth, 2 single crochets, and so on and so on. Don't forget to close with a slip stitch. For the 9th row, just a regular row, so no increasing. Chain 2 and place a single crochet in every stitch. That'll be 14 single crochets, and again, don't forget to close with a slip stitch. With this next row, we are going to decrease. Chain 2, skip the first stitch, and make a single crochet in the second stitch. And a single crochet in the third stitch. Skip the fourth and make a single crochet in the fifth and in the sixth stitch, and so on and so on. Plus, you know it, close with a slip stitch. This will be a regular row. Again, a single crochet in every stitch. Don't forget to close the 11th row with a slip stitch. The 12th and last row will be another regular row, 1 and 1. To finish the ear, cut from wool and pull the excess wool through the loop of the slip stitch. Don't cut off that strand of wool just yet. You could use it later to attach it to the bunny's head. If your bunny will be blue, red, yellow, start with that color. It will just look nicer. So take the color of your choice matching the bunny and make a slip knot and chain 5. The reason I'm using white to start with is I want to make at least 2 rows in the same color as the bunny. Insert hook in the first chain and make a slip stitch. Chain 3 and make 2 double crochets. For this, you need to yarn over, insert hook through the center of your first row, yarn over again, pull back through the center, yarn over, and pull through the first 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over once more and pull through the last 2 loops, and that was the first double crochet. Repeat one more time. Chain 3, make 3 double crochets. Chain 3, make 3 double crochets. Chain 3, make 3 double crochets. Chain 3 and finish this row with a slip stitch. For the second row, chain 4, make 3 double crochets. So as you can see, I have now made 1 set of double crochets in this corner. I am going to make 2 sets in each corner to increase the granny square. Chain 3 and make 3 double crochets in the same corner. Chain 1 over the previous row. Now I'm at the second corner, and again you'll need to make 3 double crochets, a chain of 3, and 3 double crochets. Chain 1, third corner, also 3 double crochets, a chain of 3, and 3 more double crochets. Chain 1, and the last corner on this row, again 3 double crochets, chain 3, and since you started with a chain of 4, you need to end this row with 2 double crochets and close it with a slip stitch if you don't want to change color. So if you wish to continue to crochet with the white, make a chain of 4, 3 double crochets in here, then chain 1, and the same in the corner as before, 3 double crochets, a chain of 3, and 3 double crochets. So for every set of double crochets you made in the previous round, you need to chain 1 in your new round. Then for every chain 1 you make 3 double crochets in your new round. But Don't worry, I've also made a complete crochet chart down below in the description box, free for you to download in PDF format. But for now, I'm going to show you, if you do want to change color, what to do. So you need to skip the last slip stitch, or as me, carefully pull it out. Take your color you want it to change it to. Take your colored yarn, put your hook through the third chain, lay your colored yarn over the hook, pull it through both chains, and now you can continue with a different color. So this is my granny square so far. I wanted it to end with a white row, which actually makes it one row less than this bunny, but I wanted it to end with a dark green and white. I'll just need to finish up this side and this side, and my granny square will be done, and I will show you how to make his head and the arms. Since this is the last row, I'm just going to pull this thread all the way through. Then, all that's left to do is cut off some of the excess thread and hide away the ends and give them a few good knots. Also, don't forget, the full crochet pattern is free to download. I've put the link to the PDF pattern down below in the description box. It is basically just a crochet circle where I've increased a couple of rows, then a couple of rows, just one and one, and then I've started decreasing again, but before I closed the hat, I did attach the ears first. So start with a slip knot, a chain of 4, insert hook in the first stitch and close with a slip stitch. Make a chain of 2. Make 8 single crochets. So insert hook through the center, yarn over, pull back through the center, yarn over, and pull through both. If you want, you could use a stitch marker to mark this stitch. And again, I'm crocheting over the end as well. Close with a slip stitch, and as you can see, there's a gap in the middle, but if you pull this end, you will see a chip close. Chain 2. In this row, we are going to increase. Insert hook in the first stitch and make a single crochet. Insert hook in the second stitch and make 2 single crochets. So that's 1 and that's 2. 3 in total. then 1 and 1, 2 and 1, 1 and 1, 2 and 1, 1 and 1, 2 and 1, 1 and 1, and close with a slip stitch. Chain 2. Chain 2. First stitch, 1 single crochet. Second stitch, 2 single crochets. Third stitch, 1 single crochet. Fourth stitch, 2 single crochets, and so on and so on. And close with a slip stitch. The fifth row is also an increasing row. So chain 2, and then 1 and 1, 2 and 1, 1 and 1, 2 and 1, till the end. Close with a slip stitch. Another increasing row. So chain 2, and then 1 and 1, 2 and 1, 1 and 1, 2 and 1, close with a slip stitch. For the seventh round, chain 2 and just make 1 single crochet in every stitch. Also for the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th round, just 1 single crochet in every stitch. Again, chain 2, and as I said, single crochet in every stitch, and don't forget to close all rounds with a slip stitch. For the 12th row, we are going to decrease. So chain 2 and make 18 single crochets. Then we are going to decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. This is the part we are starting to decrease. So first 1 and 1, then skip 1, then 1 and 1, 1 and 1, skip 1, and continue with the 1 and 1. As you can see, it makes a bit of a boop which shapes his face more as contouring in crocheting. I haven't done this with the previous one, but I thought it would be cool to try. So because we're going to close the sphere, I'm now going to attach the ears. So because we're going to close the sphere, I'm now going to attach the ears first so you'll get a nice finish. For this, I'll be using plastic needles to attach the ear. You can place the ear any way you like. I like to place a little offset to one another. I just used the leftover yarn from the ear to attach it to the head. If you don't have enough yarn on the ear, just use a new piece of wool in the same color as the ear. I'm not using any fancy techniques for this. I'm just going to sew it on, going front to back, through the ear and through the head. Remember to sew it on tightly because it's for a baby. To finish it, I turn the head inside out and give it a few good knots, also using the leftover wool on the inside of the head. The second ear is just the same, only difference is I'm going to place it over the middle so you won't see the start anymore. And that way you'll have a nice finish. So further on, chain 2, one and one, one and one, skip one, one and one, one and one, skip one, one and one, one and one, skip one, and so on and so on. So make 2 single crochets, skip a stitch, make 2 single crochets, etc., etc., and finish with a slip stitch. As you can see, it is already starting to slim down. Now that the gap is almost closed, it is time to fill it with some filling material. You can now really see that this version has more of a nose instead of the previous, and I must say I really like it. I grabbed some filling material and I will fill the hat bit by bit. I did attach a stitch marker where I stopped crocheting, so when the thread is pulled by accident, it doesn't ruin my work. Make sure to really fill the hat so you can get a nice shape. Once the hat is filled, you need to close it, and all you need to is continue to decrease as you did as in the previous rows. And end with a slip stitch. Cut from wool and pull the thread through the slip stitch. Give it a few good knots, pull the thread through the bunny's head to hide the end and cut away the rest. Make a slip knot and chain 3. Insert hook in the first stitch and end with a slip stitch. Chain 2, make 7 single crochets and close with a slip stitch. For the third and fourth row, you need to increase. Chain 2 and increase every other stitch. 1 single crochet in the first stitch, increase by placing 2 single crochets in the second stitch, and so on and so on. Close both rows with a slip stitch. For the next 5 rows, number 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9, you do not need to increase. Chain 2, make 19 single crochets in every stitch and close the row with a slip stitch. With these next 2 rows, number 10 and 11, you need to start decreasing. Chain 2 and decrease every third stitch. One single crochet in the first stitch and another single crochet in the second stitch. Decrease by skipping the third stitch. Then 2 more single crochets, 1 in the 4th and 1 in the 5th, skip the 6th stitch, and so on and so on. For row 10, that means you'll be making 13 single crochets, and in row 11 you make 9 single crochets. You should now have a sort of oval shape, and the next part will be the middle, the next 8 rows. So row number 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. You do not need to increase or decrease. So these rows require you to chain and then a simple single crochet in every stitch that comes next. And don't forget to close all rows with a slip stitch. With the middle part done, this last part will be his other hand, and you'll need to increase again for the next 3 rows. Chain 2 and increase every other stitch. 1 single crochet in the first stitch, increase by placing 2 single crochets in the second stitch, and so on and so on. Close all 3 rows with a slip stitch. For row 22, that means you make 7 single crochets. In row 23, you'll make 11 single crochets. And in row 24, you make 16 single crochets. No increasing or decreasing in the following 4 rows. Number 25, 26, 27, and 28. Chain 2, make 16 single crochets, 1 single crochet in every stitch, and close with a slip stitch. Before you start the last couple of rows and close it completely, it would be best to fill the hands with some filling material. If it is difficult to fill, you might want to use the back of your hook to get it all the way through. The last 2 rows you need to decrease, and just as before, chain 2, make 2 single crochets and skip the 3rd, and so on and so on. From the ball of wool and pull the end through the last slip stitch. Hide the thread through the body and cut off the excess yarn. Now all that's left to do is attach all the components together. I'm using the white wool, which was my base for my bunny, to attach it together. You could use your crochet hook or a needle. So there it is. This is my second bunny. It's just a tad smaller than the first one, but you can make the blanket as big as you want. All the patterns for this bunny blanket are down below in the description box. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have fun!
For more ideas and free printables, please visit my blog puppymakesdiy.blogspot.com. If you have any ideas or requests on what I should make or bake next time, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Click here to watch any of my other videos or to subscribe to my channel so you'll never miss a thing. Thanks for watching and see you next time!